Josh Giddey shows a lot of what the Chicago Bulls are hoping is going to come over in a game against Team USA. Me and Pat are going to break that down, give our thoughts. We're going to talk about all that, plus other Chicago Bulls news, all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Pat, man, Josh Giddey, very solid game against Team USA. And I think why this is turning a lot of heads is that it was against basically all all-stars in the NBA. He looked really good. Some rocky things, didn't shoot the ball overly effectively at all. He had a missed three-pointer that was just disturbing and a missed layup that he did. But otherwise, his creation as far as playmaking for his teammates and his ability to get to the heart of the defense, those are two things that really stuck out and two things that could be used the most on this Bulls team, at least in my opinion, next season. How you feeling, Pat?
Listen, he looked like Josh Giddey. He looked like exactly the player that we thought he could be with the Chicago Bulls.
See, that's the problem. A lot of Bulls fans got caught in the narrative and how the playoffs ended, and they didn't look at the player who they are. That happens a lot. Go ahead, keep cooking.
The playoffs is a part of that. It is a problem. Yeah. He played horribly through the whole playoffs. Like, you would think you could have a game. Yeah, I mean, like, for the most part, he was kind of like unplayable, like out there watching, was like, oh, this is really bad. So I understand why they were concerned there, but you also have to take into account the position that he was put in. He's not put in that position on Team Australia. Guess what? He's not going to be put in that position on the Chicago Bulls. Nobody looked at that jump shot that Josh Giddey threw up and was like, you know what he should be? A shooting guard. The only team that did that, who's a very smart team. Listen, I'd have put the ball more in Shea's hands too, but like, you got to know that Josh Giddey's not a two guard and is not going to be a good off-ball guard, and I'm not asking him to be. I'm asking Josh Giddey to be exactly what he was in that game, because I need Kobe White to be a guy who gets a shot created for him at times. I need Ayo Dosunmu to be a guy who gets a shot created for him. We know Patrick Williams needs a shot created for him, right? Like those are the guys that can benefit from that type of player. And I think you saw with Team Australia, listen, they didn't roll over and die. They played a heck of a game. And Josh Giddey was the catalyst behind a lot of the good looks that they were getting.
Yeah, for sure. And I like the fact that you did bring in Pat, because I think basically everybody else on this team benefits from Josh Giddey playing the game that he's naturally going to play. And that's how you can get the most out of a player. And the Bulls are going to want to put Giddey in the best situation possible, because unfortunately they have to make a decision on the contract extension at the end of the season, right? But when you look at this team, Kobe is going to benefit. Yes, Kobe is going to need the ball, and he's going to have the ball in his hand sometimes too, but like, Kobe's next step of him growing and learning to play off ball could be huge for him, and him getting more easy offense, because Josh Giddey can create those looks. We already know what Zach LaVine is better when he's not the one that's being ball dominant. You look at Pat getting involved, because guess what? It's going to be a situation where Pat may not have the choice to take a shot, because Josh Giddey's going to put the ball right there in his hands, and he's going to have to say, hey, you got to do something. If you start passing it out, you ain't going to get the opportunity. I also think Vooch is going to benefit a lot from it as well. So, and then listen, bro, I don't know about you, but watching Josh Giddey run this floor, I'm just thinking about a situation that Matas Buzelis and Josh Giddey are in transition, and that could be dangerous. You better watch your neck if that's the case.
Hey, listen, watch your neck is a wild statement to throw out there with Josh Giddey. But I agree with you. I think that how you
as long as they're not wearing number 17 there. Okay.
Hey, no. what number wait a minute. Now I'm trying to remember what number he is. Is he 4? He's 7, right?
Who, Patrick Williams?
No, Matas Buzelis.
Matas is number 14 now, right?
He's 4. Oh. That's hey, bro. Hey, was it just me, or was there random number changes this entire offseason?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because initially Buzelis was going to be double zero, which was weird because we got Kobe White, who is 0. That would have been weird anyway.
We've had that. I've seen that before.
Yeah, we've had that on this team before. I forgot who had we had that before. But Buzelis changed his number. Then didn't also Josh Giddey have a pick a different number initially, and then they announced it too? Yeah, like I guess it doesn't matter because they hadn't played a game yet, but like, yeah, it's just been random.
I swear I was sitting there thinking, now listen, here's my thing with Giddey, bro. Pick a number above 18. Don't make the jokes easy. Don't make them easy, bro. Like, come on, dog.
He's tracking how well Josh Giddey plays defense against people who wear number 17 all season because he's gonna put that D on people who wear number 17.
Oh, no, bro. I don't know if we can get away with that.
Is that pushing it a little too far?
I'm so glad we're not doing live calls no more, bro. I can't imagine. It's like Giddey all over 17. It's too easy. It's too easy,
man.
But no, I think that when I think about the connection that this team can have, I do think about that Lonzo Ball moment that we had, the 35 games, right? How the Bulls were running the floor, how the offense looked perfect, right? Like those are the things that get me excited about having a player like Giddey on this team. Now, does it mean that you're going to go out there and win 50 games? No, I think we're a long way away from that. You would have to see Buzelis become the player that we saw in that second game versus the player that we saw in the first game, right? Shooting wise, at least. But I think that to me, when you talk about having a collection of guys last year that you're now adding Josh Giddey into, last season you had a collection of guys. Now you can have a team with how he's able to run the floor and keep everybody involved. And I think that that's the part that does get me a little bit more excited, and seeing him be able to go out there and play the way that he did, seeing how he was able to attack, seeing how listen, still fearless. Like, I think that's the part for me. He never was like, I shouldn't drive into the hole. There's no Ben Simmons in his game.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't shoot, but I'm gonna get to this bucket.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll end up seeing like overall, the thing that I like about Giddey is that he keeps his head up. He looks for plays. He looks for the open guy. But I think that the Bulls fans that think that Josh Giddey's this horrible player that can't score because he has inability to shoot threes, I think they're going to be a little bit surprised by Josh Giddey's ability to hit some big shots for the Bulls.
I just hate that we live in an era where it's like, he can't shoot threes. He's not a scorer. I'm like, I watched a lot of dudes that couldn't shoot threes score a lot of points in this league, bro. Like, I don't, hey, especially when you're, what is he, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of tall guys that couldn't shoot threes, be able to score points and get the team involved. So I'm not as worried about Giddey as most, but I think the fact that you saw him do it against the best that Team USA can offer, and the fact that you saw it go down to the wire, it gave me a lot of confidence in what this young man could be for the Bulls, man.
Yeah, and we'll end up seeing, like, again, I'm not expecting Josh Giddey to all of a sudden be a perfect player at all, like, by any stretch. I just look at what Josh Giddey's strengths are and how they do play into some of these strengths that the Chicago Bulls players have. And I think that I'm not saying that the Bulls are going to all of a sudden win a bunch of games, but I do think they're going to play a fun brand of offense, but also a brand of offense that actually fits the type of team that we have more, whereas we didn't necessarily do that. And having a point guard that's a distributor and I know people always talk about we're getting back, like, Josh Giddey is even a better half-court creator than what Lonzo Ball was able to be. I know people talk about that he had better ability to that because even when Lonzo was here healthy, DeMar still had the ball a lot in the half court. This is going to be a team where in the half-court offense, it's basically going to be Giddey with Kobe and even Zach sometimes having the ball, but it's mainly going to be Josh Giddey.
Bro, you know what watching that game showed me, though? Like, when you think about it's always funny when you look at mugs in the league and you're like, bro, that mug is trash, bro. He ain't nothing in his. Jock Landale scored 20 points, bro, and was hooping Team USA. Jock Landale don't average 5 points in the NBA right now.
That's a fact.
Jock Landale was 27-6 with Team Australia. He can't score 5 points a game in the NBA. Like, it's so funny to see how good these mugs actually are when it's like, hey, well, why don't you let him shoot the ball a little bit?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So overall with that, next up, we're going to be getting into talking about Zach LaVine and a potential, like, Is it going to be a smooth return for Zach LaVine? Is it could be a distraction in the locker room for the Chicago Bulls? Joe Cowley seems to think so, but we discussed that and more. But first, got to get into a message from one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. All right, Pat. Zach LaVine. It seems like the Bulls, when you listen to AK and what he talked about in the press conference that he did have, him and Mark Eversley, they have resigned themselves to understanding that Zach LaVine is going to be on this roster opening night. Even going so far as to say that Zach LaVine, they expect him to be healthy and to help this team compete. But according to Joe Cowley, there is some concern within the Bulls front office that it's turning a bit into has a possibility of being maybe a nuclear situation. I mean, you talked about Zach LaVine has basically always been professional. Him and Billy Donovan is that as well. I don't know how much I believe that this can turn into just a bad situation because Zach LaVine's teammates also seem to really like him. So that's me from the outside looking in. But how do you feel about it, Pat?
I mean, listen, we've all had a job we didn't want to go to. At a certain point, yes, you can be as professional as you want, but you just don't do the job as well as you should. Right? You go in, you do your job, you do the minimum that you can, and you get out. And I think that that's why this could turn into a bad situation because I at the end of the day, Zach LaVine's going to get his money. Zach LaVine's going to get paid. I don't know if Zach LaVine is going to come here and say, you know what, I'm just going to suck it up and I'm going to live with it. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at for the foreseeable future. I think that not to say that he would become unprofessional, but I don't think that you would get the best version of Zach LaVine. You never get the best version of players when they're unhappy. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so to me, like, yeah, do I think that this could turn into a bad situation around the Chicago Bulls? Heck yeah, because I think that Zach LaVine's unhappy, and I think the Chicago Bulls are unhappy. And when you got two unhappy people sitting in a room together, they're going to both, at a certain point, you're going to get irritated with each other and snap.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this, Pat. Did you think at all when Zach LaVine did come back and he was clearly trying to pass more, it was like he was trying to prove a point, whatever it is, did you ever feel like that affected the team overall? Like, do you think, because it seemed like still the team was still trying to, like, I just didn't see. Now, that was a very small sample size, right? Like, we get like 7 games from Zach before he went back down with injury again, something like that. So maybe it's just an overthink there, but I don't know. I don't get the feeling. I know people like to paint Zach as this diva. They like to like to paint Zach as this, but like Zach, here's what I'll hope. This is what I'll say. Let's take away the narrative. Let's take away all that. Zach LaVine, I hope, understands the fact that the best thing that can come out of this, the best thing that Zach needs to do, not only for himself, but for the Bulls, Zach LaVine averaging 30 points per game isn't going to help the Bulls. Isn't going to help him get off this team next year because everybody knows he can score. A Zach LaVine that fits in, maybe even a Zach LaVine that scores 24, 5, and 5 would change the narrative around him more than Zach LaVine coming in scoring 30 points, in my opinion. But how do you view that?
When Zach LaVine requested the trade, I believe that was right after the Bulls had just won the Miami game.
Okay.
Or maybe it was the Detroit game. Maybe it was the Detroit game that they won. One of them.
It may have been the Detroit game. Maybe
we had just won a game. I believe it was the Detroit game. The Bulls then proceeded to lose 10 out of their next 11 games.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do think that Zach LaVine, his attitude, how he wants to, because nothing changed, right? Zach was still on the floor. Zach played all of those games. But the team crumpled from that happening. you saw a visibly shaken Chicago Bulls team. And it's no surprise that I believe maybe when he went out was the Miami game. He got hurt in the Miami game, or he didn't dress, one or the other.
Mm.
And all of a sudden the Chicago Bulls started winning. All of a sudden you saw the second Zach LaVine was not on the court, the Bulls went on and had one of their best months of the season. I think it's impossible to not say that Zach LaVine, and not saying that he's being disruptive in the locker room, not saying he's being a bad teammate, not saying he's not, but there's something that's happening there. I'm not saying that I know what it is, but there's something that's directly tied to wins and losses that happens when he's on the court.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to say it. Like whether it's because he wants out, whether it's because he's not looking to compete as hard. Like I don't think that's the case. I think when Zach's out there, he's playing, right? Like I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's not a good situation to develop players in. And you have to.
I agree with that.
I'm not gonna lie. You have to make a tough decision this year. I think if you start your season with Zach LaVine and it looks like it did when you had him in there in the last season, you're going to have to make a tough decision on, are we going to bench a $40 million player?
Exactly. And I don't think there's any chance they bench Zach. I just personally don't think there's any chance they bench Zach, because that doesn't help what they like. Ultimately their goal. I don't think so.
Billy's done it once. That's what started all of it.
Yeah, but he did it specifically in a game for a scenario where Zach LaVine was playing like trash. It wasn't like he just said, hey, by the way, Zach, you're not a starter anymore. That's a different scenario. Like I want to see Billy Donovan do more of that. The problem, I think, also, which compounded that Zach LaVine thing, is people forget the very next game after Zach LaVine played like trash, DeMar played like trash and didn't get benched.
Yeah, that was true. DeMar was horrible.
The very next game.
Yeah. That was true. I think here's the part that when you see the correlation of wins and losses with Zach LaVine, you kind of look at it, but then you also, right, when Zach LaVine missed the time, was that a benching? That's the one thing I've always wondered. Was that we don't really want you, because what took Zach LaVine out for the rest of the season? It wasn't mandatory surgery.
That is what took Zach LaVine out for the rest of the season.
Zach LaVine,
not mandatory, optional surgery.
Zach LaVine took an optional surgery that took him out for the rest of the season, which means that optional, in my mind, is like you could have been playing.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that was more so that he looked at it and said, I don't want to go to Detroit.
I don't want to go to Detroit, right? Yeah. Makes perfect sense. But we were heading towards that deadline spot where it's like, hey, like, okay, are we going to make a move with Zach LaVine or not? We don't want him to get hurt. I wonder if the Bulls did that last season and they just kept it very, very hush-hush, especially because of some of the things that we've heard Rich Paul talk about, how Zach's been professional through the ups and downs with this organization. Like that has been something over the last couple of weeks that I've been like, we never really talked about.
Pause. I just realized something. When did you switch from Zenny glasses to the blue blockers 1996s? Like when did you switch to those?
What you mean? I've been had these glasses though.
Have you been wearing those glasses for a while now?
Bro, I've been wearing these glasses for like 4 months, bro.
That's crazy. Really? Bro. I see you every day.
Done multiple shows. Are you serious?
I gotta check the tape. Ain't no way you've had those glasses for 4 months on this show. That's crazy.
Bro,
That's crazy.
I've had these glasses for a while. They are shading in here, though. I wonder if it's because I'm sitting so close to the light. I got Tony Stark joints going on right now.
That's hilarious, bro. That's
he said, when did you get these, bro? I've had these for months, bro. But no, man, I got questions. I got questions
too, apparently. Like,
yeah, you got questions, though. You got real questions, because we have done so many shows with me with
that's
these
crazy.
glasses.
I just went back and looked at an episode a month ago. You sure as hell have those glasses on. That's crazy. You think you know somebody, and then they go and change their glasses. That's crazy. Oh, but no, I mean, to get back on track before in the segment, I agree that like you don't want somebody like the worst, and this is why jobs, when they know somebody's leaving or whatever, they'll send you home with pay for a few weeks, right?
Send
and
you
just
home
be
with
like,
pay, yeah.
because the last thing when it's the worst thing in the world when we know you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. On top of that, that's always a situation where it's like, that's just not a good employee situation. Like, it's just not. So
no, for sure, man, for sure. We'll see what it ends up turning into. We got to talk about Matas though, or Matas. I gotta figure out.
Somebody said it's Matas.
I think it's Matas because I heard the Numbers on the Board podcast talking about him, and they said Matas, and they actually know him. So I'm going with Matas, but I keep, for some reason in my mind, I want to make him more foreign than he is. And he's not even foreign. He like grew up in Hinsdale.
I mean, he's still Lithuanian, but yeah.
I mean, he's Lithuanian, but he like Chicago Lithuanian. You know what I mean? He enjoys good Polish sausage. Hey, man, before we get up out of here, though, and talk about Matas, we got to tell you guys all about FanDuel. FanDuel is the #1 place for all your sports betting needs. Listen, I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down and we get fewer and fewer games and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to, sportsing a wild word, but FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a daily bonus. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
All right, Pat, before we get up out of here for today, man, you raised an interesting question before we started recording that we're bringing over here, because the Bulls do play their third summer league game tonight. What was
What?
You trying to see what I was going to notice? You changed the glasses. Stop changing the glasses.
I've had these glasses for months.
That's crazy. Anyway, you raised an interesting question in asking that. Have we seen enough from Buzelis to where the Bulls should maybe consider shutting him down? How you feel about it? I know it's a question that you raised, but how you feel about it?
I mean, here's my thing. We saw this last season, and we've seen him play really well. Here's the thing that you're not going to change about Buzelis, the confidence that we've seen, right? Mm-hmm. Shot-wise, right? I want him working on a shot in the offseason. Shot-wise, like, yes, it's cool in game situations, but I know that he can shoot. Or I know that he shoots confidently. I don't know that he can shoot. I know that he's willing to put the ball in the air. I want him working on that. I don't care if he's able to prove that he can go out there and win a summer league NBA championship. Yeah, I mean, like, 2K is a terrible game. Nobody's ever going to play it again anyway. Who cares about the 2K league? Like, with the new college football 25, bro, it's 2K having some dark days.
Can we get college basketball back next year as well? We need to just,
bro, 2K having some dark days, bro.
I mean, 2K, listen, bro, 2K is like, they're really lucky the fact that no other major company started making basketball games and EA can't get their crap together. Yeah, keep switching the glasses, bro. Like, listen, stop it. Because now I'm on alert. I'm going to notice it. You know the guy who does the skits where he changes his hat while he talks to people? That's what you're doing now.
It's Ray J. It's Ray J. Hey, you did that on an episode and nobody noticed?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I think I did 3 different hats.
You did like 4 different hats.
They were just all on my desk, and I was just like, hey, I'm just going to switch hats. Nobody noticed.
But no, here's my thing with it, right? Like, if you know who the player is, and this is what we saw last season. Victor Wembanyama played, 3 games? Like, maybe let him play 1 more game. But, like, I'm not risking you out there versus, Joe Schmo who's just trying to make the team. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, not to say that you have to bench him, and I enjoy watching his game. I enjoy watching how confident he's become, but he gave us the game we were looking for. What did I say? I was very nervous when Khalil Ware had, 25, 11, and 8 or something like that, like a ridiculous game. And I was like, this is who I wanted, dog. Like, Matas better be cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second game, he did the exact same thing. Went out there and was able to ball out. And I just don't like, what is he learning in Summer League that he can't learn just by working with the coaches? Go back to Chicago, work on your shooting, or enjoy Vegas and then go back to Chicago, work on your shooting. I just don't need to see any more of him because I can tell what level of player he is right now. And I don't think playing in Summer League is developing you that much more.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. So I mean, I get it completely where you come from. The thing that I question is like, would Buzelis even be down for that? Like, he's such a competitor. I feel like they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and sit you this game. He'd be like, okay, you can go ahead and sit me. All right, whatever you guys need to do. I understand business. And then the start of the game, the coach is just like, you're supposed to be sitting. He's like, no, I'm playing. Don't even worry about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and play this.
I mean, listen. At the end of the day, listen to your boss. Yeah, at the end of the day, if your boss says you're not playing, you're not playing. And you've got a player that you can do this with. That's the thing. That's why, like, I really thought about the idea of it, because we haven't had a player we could do this with over the last 4 years. Nobody thought to sit Patrick Williams. Nobody thought to sit Ayo Dosunmu. Nobody thought to sit Dalen Terry or Julian Phillips. Heck, we can sit Julian Phillips too if we really want to. It doesn't have to be a Matas specific thing. Like, I think that you have multiple players that have shown you talent-wise this season they're better than what they're playing against. We didn't have that with Marko Simonovic. I guess kind of at the end, but it took him a while to get to that point. I wasn't sitting there going, he's leaps and bounds ahead of everybody here. Hey, sit all three of them. Adama Sanago. Anybody who's got a contract that's going to be on the team, they're not playing. Adama Sanago, Matas Buzelis, Julian Phillips, y'all had a great run. Phenomenal 2 games. Have a safe flight back to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I can understand that. I don't know if that will happen, especially as Julian is coming back from injury and stuff like that. But if they were to say, hey, Buzelis, you're done, I don't look at it as that. Like, does it make the last few Summer League games not as enjoyable? Yeah, but I'd more rather see Buzelis play in the regular season than play a couple of Summer League games. Against competition he's shown now, he's better than.
Bro, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't care how well Matas plays. Summer League is not enjoyable.
Oh, Summer League is some of the sloppiest basketball. That's why they give him 10 fouls. Any basketball that they give you 10 fouls, that's telling me you expect it to be sloppy. It's such a sloppy brand of basketball, bro.
Right,
if it wasn't for me loving the game of basketball, because I've told you before, I could watch 5 organized bums play basketball if I just want to watch basketball that bad. So it's cool, but it's such a sloppy, disgusting brand of basketball generally, bro. Like, the Warriors had 3 NBA players on their Summer League team, and it was still ugly basketball, bro.
Which didn't they have more last year? I thought about this. I was like, you got 3 this year. Didn't you have like 5 NBA players on your team last year? Because they played us, and they blew us out last year. And I was like, well, no duh, dog. Like, this buzz in the league already.
Exactly, man. Yeah, but
hey, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let us know if the Bulls should shut down Matas for the rest of Summer League. Let us know how you feel the Zach LaVine return will go. And are y'all in on the Giddler?
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. You can follow us collectively at Locked On Bulls. We thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, and Amazon Fire TV. For Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls. We out, y'all. Peace. Bastard.
I'm the bastard, and you didn't notice. We show with this man every day.
You have a very generic Italian face. I didn't know what you were doing.
Just a generic paisano. Oh, okay. My bad.